Hey there, my name's Fred Siggins. I'm from Melbourne and I really like drinking American whiskey. I'm here with my man Alan from Shady Pines, one of the best places in Australia to possibly drink this drink.
We're not just a couple of good swords standing here and talking smack in front of you. We do know some things about little things about bourbon and we're just here to help. Salute.
Cheers. All the things you need to know about bourbon are: the majority of the recipe must be corn, at least 51%.
Cannot be distilled higher than 80% ABV.
Must be aged in new charred oak barrels.
If aged less than 4 years, then the age must be stated on the label.
No additives, colouring, flavouring of any kind.
Can't be made anywhere in the USA.
And it tastes delicious.
Even at 3 AM Sydney.
Right, so a mash bill is basically the recipe of grains selected by the distiller to create the flavour of the whiskey that they're after. Grains are cooked under high temperatures and then cooled to extract the sugars from them.
With corn being the most dominant, the other grains are made up with rye or wheat and a little bit of malted barley. The grains come into the distillery and then they get milled.
And then we cook those grains under high temperatures to extract the sugars.
They then get cooled down before we pump them into fermenting tanks where they're mixed with yeast to create basically a beer.
And then double distillation starts with a beer or column still and then finishes with a clean spirit in a pot still, otherwise known as a doubler.
The spirit off the still isn't bourbon yet because it hasn't been aged. We call it white dog and this goes into charred barrels for aging. Now aging is where the magic happens.
It's true. All bourbon gets aged in a standard 200 litre charred oak barrel.
There are levels of charring that are selected by the distiller, which basically means how long they torch the wood for.
The barrels are then filled and they begin their journey by being rolled onto what's called a rick, which stands in a rick house or warehouse.
I know a really good guy that's called Rick. The rick is a freestanding structure that houses the barrels, usually standing 3 high on each floor of a warehouse. A warehouse generally has around 7 or 8 floors.
At Buffalo Trace, each warehouse contains between 25 and 40,000 barrels, and the middle floors are known as the sweet spot. Each warehouse has a different effect on the barrels that are aging within.
This is because when the spirit is inside the barrel, it is aging, or in Kentucky they call it breathing. With the warm weather, the spirit expands into the wood, then when it gets cooler, it contracts and pulls out all the colour and flavour. Until the distiller decides the whiskey is ready to bottle, that's where it stays breathing and resting. Not bad, that's a comforting thought, isn't it?
I reckon so.